So the SBA released along the way a series of versions of guidelines. The date of the first version being released is in dispute because the date that was on there for the past couple of years just recently changed in the last few months, which now says April 6th, 2020. So we're going to go with that because that's what it currently says on the SBA website right now. In that first version and in every subsequent version, they released this question number 17 reads, I filed or approved a loan application based on the version of the PPP interim final rule published on April 2nd, 2020. Do I need to take any action based on the updated guidance in these FAQs? And the answer is, so they're stating, they make a statement. Rules have changed. And it asks, do I need to take action? And the answer is no. Borrowers and lenders may rely on the laws, rules, and guidance available at the time of the relevant application. However, borrowers whose previously submitted loan applications have not yet been processed may revise their applications based on clarifications reflected in these FAQs. So, let's read that again. No, borrowers and lenders may rely on the laws, rules, and guidance available at the time of the relevant application. So, there's a few things to examine here. Number one, what are FAQs? We know that they are frequently asked questions, but as it regards to the law, in regards to the law, what are they? Are they laws? Are they binding? Because if not, then why does the SBA and lenders and everybody keep coming back to it? If they're just frequently asked questions and they don't hold any weight and they don't have any legal standing. And if they do, what it says is that every single change made after the date of your application doesn't apply to you. So the past 2.5, 3 years of all of these hundreds and or thousands of changes that have happened don't apply to any of the borrowers. So in this case, you have to have some sort of a database or record of like what were all of the rules that were in place on your day. What were all of the changes that were made on your day, on subsequent days? And then you have to do some sort of internal audit of all of these millions of businesses to see which day they applied and were funded and all of that, and see all of the rules that don't apply to them afterward. And that seems like a very daunting task. So in which case, and if these aren't binding at all, then why are they here? What are they good for? And how can you be changing the rules so many times, 2.5 years later, 1.5 years later, 6 months later, whatever it is, on how the money was spent 2 years ago? You can't change the rules of a contract after the actions set forth in that contract have already been carried out. We had 8 weeks. Now, if you had come and said things have changed anytime within those first few minutes or seconds or maybe hours before money was spent out and caught that ahead of time, maybe. But after the first dollar was spent, after any of it was sent, that's being very generous, right? By the law, like if you have a contract that you've already signed saying that you're going to do these actions, you've already signed it. It's already set forth. You said, here's this money, pay it out to your workers and your full-time equivalent employees, including 1099 independent contractors, as paid in your 2019 payroll, including independent contractors. Pay this money to them. Okay, that's a binding contract. All right, and you want to change the rules afterward. You can't do it after, especially after 8 weeks, because we only had 8 weeks to pay out 100% of that money that needed to be paid out. So after 8 weeks, anything that happened after 8 weeks especially, you can't legally be bound to. We upheld the payments requirements of our contracts that had a due date of 8 weeks. It was done. We did it. And if they aren't good for anything, then why does Bank of America and possibly other lenders, I'm not sure Bank of America is my lender, why does Bank of America keep referring to them, saying that we are just going by the rules and regulations set forth by the SBA? Well, these are the rules and regulations set forth by the SBA. So why is Bank of America relying so heavily on this? Right? So they must be binding, in which case 17 is binding as well. And we don't have to pay attention to any of the rules and regulation changes that have occurred since early 2020. And if that's the case, then why are we still throwing around all of these rule changes? Because we don't have to apply to them at all.